So we started draining the pool the previous day, got it down to the transition deep end and left it. And we're getting ready to start the whole process. Make sure you have help available. If anyone offers, take them up on it.
So I build this doing a pool liner. I build this cover over the stairs. Usually you just kind of hang it right here and maybe tape up the seams. It always tends to get windy where I'm at and it starts blowing and never creates a vacuum. So you'll hook up your vacuum on the kind of the middle of the transition, and or two shot vacs or one shot vac. You pull a suction to it. It'll suck it all down. This just helps. So I'll tape the liner on the seam right here. Tape all these seams, tape all right here, tape all the screw holes. This helps pull a vacuum better. I tried it the first time I did this liner 7 years ago. Could not pull a vacuum. And finally I went on YouTube or something and I seen people that would build these little essentially covers for the stairway. Just helped a lot pulling the vacuum. Once you pull a vacuum, you fill it halfway full of water, and you get this starter water with filled in with water, and then you'll just come back and finish off your stair threshold. So next we're gonna pull all the hardware. This is pumping down. This probably has another hour. Pull all the hardware out, pull the light. Gets down close enough, we'll pull the bottom drains and start cutting the liner out. Check the bottom of the pool and make sure the bottom looks like it's in good shape. Sometimes you'll get tree roots growing down in between your liner and your Poolcrete or sand. It's kind of a mess. Make a stop to the pool store and buy another bag of Poolcrete or fill it in with wet sand. And this staining right here, you probably see that a lot just pulled this out from winter. The staining will go away once you get your pH neutralized. So right now I'm going to tape off the stairs, go grab the other liner, put it on the deep end after we pull the hardware and liner.
If your pool's old, you also want to order new hardware, returns, skimmer plates, so on. Right now you want to remove all hardware and light, and be careful with it because you don't want to break them.
Another thing you want to do is tape off all the seams and the holes so you can pull a vacuum. So since this is a pre-existing stairs, I'm going to mark which direction they were going. Marking east and west and which way was up.
To get the last bit out, the pump won't suck any of the water out, so you gotta get it out of there however you can. We used a dustpan and buckets, and once you get it to almost all the way dry, you can just pull the whole thing out. Be careful pulling your bottom drains off because you can break the hardware. They're once you got to this point, you don't want to have any problems. Here I am disconnecting the light. You'll go over to the wet niche and disconnect that side of it and pull one continuous wire over to the wet niche. So here we are putting Poolcrete, patching some low spots that were in there from the beginning when the pool was installed. There are some footprints and low spots. So the next morning we scraped all the patches that we put in with the Poolcrete. It's kind of a soft vermiculite concrete sand mixture. Went and scraped all the harsh edges off of it, and right here we're cleaning up the best we can, because once you drop that liner, whatever is in between the Poolcrete and your liner, you're going to feel at the bottom of it. So here we are dropping the liner. It takes some positioning to get it just how you want it. The corners are usually marked with a C, and there'll be a sticker on the deep end and a sticker on the shallow end. And once you get it right where you want it, take your time. Make sure all the seams are running 90 with the long walls. You'll place the shop vac or liner vac kind of in the middle of the transition, and you'll pull a vacuum on it to pull it against the walls, so make sure it's right where you want it. Then you'll start adding water, and once it's about ankle deep, you'll put your bottom drains in. Take your time and make sure you have everything vacuumed up on the bottom drains. Just make sure before you cut anything into the liner or put a screw through the liner that it's exactly where you want it. That's why the vacuum is so important. It holds the liner against the wall the entire time that the water is being added.
So as you can hear, we got the vacuum going. Pulling the vacuum on the liner. You want to keep that running as long as you possibly can. Fill the deep end. My plan is to fill the deep end tonight and turn it off, and then tomorrow finish doing the shallow end. One thing you want to make sure is that you have the bottom drains, the holes vacuumed out real good, which I didn't. I had it clean, the surface clean, but not the holes weren't vacuumed out. I think we got a little rock in there or something. Ended up stripping one of them out. Had to go run to the hardware store, buy a bigger coarse thread, like panhead screw, to go in there and seal that bottom ring. That was kind of the hold up. So anyways, should take about 5 hours to 7 hours to fill the deep end, and we'll finish off the shallow end tomorrow. What do you think, Dino? So we're at day 3. Day 1 was tearing the liner out. Day 2 was putting the liner in and filling the deep end. Here's the top of the transition. This is where I stopped. Turn the vacuum off. Once the water was up about 2/3 of the way of the deep end, I turn the vacuum off. And I'll turn it back on after I get this liner positioned how I want it. As you see right here, there's lines kind of angling up this way. This kind of tells me it needs to go this way. There's more right here. So it needs to scoot it just a little bit. You can see these seams. Right here you can see a seam running, maybe. You can see it on there. These seams need to be like at a 90 with your wall. You can see it kind of edges over to the right. And you'll do that when you install the liner. You'll look for everything from the deep end over is at a 90 with the length of the pool. This one's pretty straight. Here's the next one, kind of kicks over, so I need to take some of that slack out of that steps and shift it about 2 inches, I think. So right here you want to kick all the corners into the shallow end real gently, just kind of nudge it with the side of your foot. So when you're putting this track in, get your nose out of here. Move your nose, bro. So when you're putting this track in, it has a bead. There's a reverse bead that has the lip on this side. This is a standard bead. So when you're ordering your pool liner, this would be reverse, this would be a standard. And it just slides in the track, and there's a little lip right on this aluminum piece for most of the liner pools. And you just put it in there and it kind of hangs when the weight of the water pulls on it. This lip will get pushed down with the weight of the water. Here I'm using a squeegee to get all the wrinkles off the floor. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to put the stairs on. I've started this one. I located the top hole. Did that one first. Located one about halfway down. You just feel for the hole behind the liner. And once you got that, you got your grid set up. These are already spaced. So on this one, I'm going to find this hole. You can see it when you peel this back. Do that, and that should bracket off your bottom. And you do this just before the water gets to that level. And then I'll do that return, that drain, the light, and then the 3 other returns. And then you can just let it keep filling up. Be ready to go. There's something nerve-wracking about you're drilling holes in here and then you're going to cut it out. So just take your time. Make sure everything looks right. You got a little crease here, but at some point you just got to say looks good enough. Because you sit there and chase all these little, and I'll run these creases out with my feet when it gets a little bit fuller. Anyway, I'll do this right side strip and then should bracket off the bottom because they meet end to end. And if you take pictures before you start this all, because you can't see anything behind there, so at least when you do it this way. If you do it without this top part, you can kind of see what you're doing, but it's hard to pull a good vacuum, and especially here when it's windy and then this thing starts flapping, you lose vacuum. And once this thing hits about, I don't know, a foot high, I'll shut the vacuum off. gotta make sure you cut on the right side.
I couldn't find it, so I